Welcome to my channel. I'm Raki, and this is a space where we heal, grow, and self-discover to push ourselves to our highest, most authentic expression. Today, I'm going to be covering a little bit about this channel, my journey and my why, so that you can get to know me. Most importantly, our collective mission and how it's going to help you. So let's get into it. This channel has been a labor of love and something I've wanted to do for such a long time, but for whatever reasons, it just didn't come to fruition then, so it's coming to fruition now. And I'm so grateful that I'm going to get this time to spend with you and grow together collectively, because that's what it's all about for me. Over time, I hope to share my fullest expression with you all, and I hope that you'll share yours with me too. Now I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my journey so that you can get to know me. And I'll be doing this in sections, and the first section I'm going to be covering is cultural and societal expectation. The way that this impacted me in my life really showed me who I am today and made me understand myself a lot more. The first thing I realized was the impact of emotional suppression. We are literally in a culture that teaches it on both sides, especially if you're British Indian like me. Not only do the ethnic minorities not really talk about health issues, especially mental health issues, but also in the Brit culture, we don't really share our emotions that much. We tend to just be like, let's go to the pub and not talk about our problems and forget that anything actually has ever happened. But this is just a band-aid and it doesn't really solve the problem. Although I believe in having a great time, we do also need to take some space to just reflect so that we can get to know ourselves better and be our own best friend. I started to realize that when you're not emotionally connected and when you're part of cultures that literally villainize emotions, you're connecting with people through that wounded relationship, but neither of those people really know what to do with that beyond there. So it's up to us really to find or seek out the people, which now you found me. So it's to find those people that are going to help you with your mindset and the tools, and also just hold space for you to be real and honest with each other. Because I feel like this is lacking in communities right now. And I think this is the exact thing we need to connect with each other more. Because loneliness is only going up. And the reason that's happening is because we're not actually being real with one another. The second thing I noticed with cultural expectations and societal expectations was always practicality over passion. I found this a lot when I was growing up, always choosing the practical path, especially when it came to career, because they didn't really understand what creativity was. And I think as I've gotten older, it's become more accepted because it's also become more culturally accepted. So as a result, now we see more creatives getting paid for what they're doing. We see more people shining in their creativity, which I absolutely love. And also shout out to all the brown people out there, because for so long, South Asians have been taught not to go after their passions and choose the practical path. So if you're out there doing that, hella respect to you. And I'm so grateful that you're paving the path for the rest of us. Sometimes we think practicality is the way to go, but the truth is your purpose is going to lie within your passion somewhere. And yes, we have to be practical sometimes, but that doesn't mean you need to kill your passion. Always find a way to have a balance between the two. And also just follow your inner guidance, because it's really going to tell you the best place to go. The third thing that I realized within cultural and societal expectations, especially for women, needing a man. So you could be really happy. You could be doing really well for yourself, but none of that matters if you don't have a man. And as I'm approaching my 30s, I notice this more and more and more, because it's such a big part of the culture that, if you're not married by this certain time, then you haven't made it. And success is very one-dimensional for people, which I've learned we have to make our own versions of what success is, because it's not the same for everyone. And if you want to be married and you want to have a house and you want to do this and you want to do that, absolutely fine. Nothing against it. But don't push that on other people, because everybody's timing is different, and that's okay. This actually nicely just blends right into the cultural and societal expectation where people pleasing comes in. I remember even growing up, we are literally taught this in most cultures, to serve everyone else first, then see to yourself. It's kind of ingrained from us from a very young age. And it wasn't until my mid-20s I actually realized that you are no good to anyone if you are not well nourished yourself. I like to use the metaphor that, let's say there was a ship and it was going down. You have loads of life jackets right next to you that you can throw out to help the people that are drowning out there. But if you do not put on your life jacket first, you will only be able to hand out a certain amount. Let's say 10, 20. Wonderful. But if you had put on your life jacket first, you could have helped thousands and thousands of people. Because all of what you need is right there. And just like that in life, all of the healing, all of the light, everything you need is right there. But until you put it on yourself, until you put that life jacket on you, you cannot help anybody else. And that's something I learned. But people pleasing is a real thing. So a lot of people don't know that. And that's something that I feel like comes with time as we begin to heal together. So the second part of my journey that I want to share with you all is heartbreak. Heartbreak is something we all inevitably face at some point or another in our lives. And the first time I ever met heartbreak was at the age of 6, when I lost my grandma. She was one of my main figures in my life. She took care of me pretty much till the day she died. So I had a very special bond with her. And when she passed away, I never realized at that age what that meant to me, nor how it impacted me. And I also came across a lot of emotions I never really understood, like grief. I found that very difficult at the time. Without knowing it as a child as well, it kind of shows up in other ways as an adult, which you don't really realize until you start doing the healing work. So for me, it showed up as abandonment issues, because as a 6-year-old, it created this narrative of, if I love someone, they're going to leave me. And that's natural for a 6-year-old to think, especially if you don't really know what death is, you haven't really understood it yet, like you're very young. I was very little. So it makes sense to me now. However, when you're doing the action, subconsciously, I didn't know this. So the result of having that abandonment wound or issue then seeped out into all of my other relationships, because I thought, you know, you're scared of losing people, really. And because of that fear, you overcompensate. So you go out of your way extra to make sure you don't lose anyone, which also then tied with the people pleasing that we talked about. Oof, that's a sticky mix, because then you've got these two things that are like, I'm overcompensating and I've got people pleasing issues. As a result, you forget yourself, you take care of others, and on top of that, you're going out of your way. So you're giving even more to people, receiving less. So you literally, your cup is getting more and more empty because you're just trying your best to just keep people. That all taught me a lot of a lesson of detachment. But it also, as I started to heal, really made me recognize that wound and give that love back to myself. And also the understanding for my own inner child, because as a 6-year-old, you don't really know what's going on. And then tied with the emotional suppression that culture has, which means no one's actually talking about their emotions. No one's going to talk to you about your emotions. In fact, the most that I got was like, you need to stay strong, which, do you even know what that means when you're 6? Like, and I can laugh about it now because I've healed and I've grown from it. But it's one of those things that I think takes time to be able to just like have your own pace and understand like why you feel the way you feel and why you've chosen the things you've chosen. And that was a big one for me. That was a big revelation. I then also, as I got into high school, I got bullied a lot for the way that I looked. And often that caused a lot of issues in general for me because I never thought that I was enough. And I've had to learn to fall in love with how I look and who I am, because that is what you are. And I feel like a lot of people mistake self-love for just loving yourself and not ever feeling bad about yourself. But the truth is, you're not going to like every single quality about everybody. But the people that you love them beyond that. You pour love actually into your insecurities so that they can then be transformed. So that you can actually own it and say, hey, you might think that, but that's fine because I love myself. Regardless of anything or anyone, that I have that with myself now. However, I didn't growing up as a 15-year-old. So when I was told these things, you often think that that opinion is collective opinion, and then it causes all these other issues for you. That then combined with all the abandonment and people-pleasing issues made me pick some very questionable partners. I was cheated on. I've had people actually be my bully as a partner and tell me I didn't look good. And that actually also seeped into friendships, because then I also was with friends with people that literally would make me feel even more insecure about myself. Or you had people out there that would pick out insecurities, like that you told them, like, I'm insecure about this. And then they'll be like, yeah, so I'm going to pick out that thing because I know you're insecure about it, which is all to do with them and nothing to do with you, but something I also learned on my journey. A lot of these things then led to heartbreak in relationships because I somehow or some way always had that little calling in me that was like, you deserve better than this. What are you doing? So I walked away from a lot of things, which I'm very proud of now because it's hard at the time. Then also with friendships as well, like having people judge me, having people like not accept me, especially when I chose the healing path. I found a lot of people that I thought would be in my life for a long time drop off the radar because all of a sudden they don't match with me anymore. It was a hard process, and you know, you have to find yourself amongst the chaos of it all, and then find your community and find your people, which we're going to create here. So I'm really excited about that. So the third part of my story that I want to share with you all is how I went from victim mindset to growth mindset. This all started because of my spiritual and self-development journey. The minute that I turned to healing and started going inwards, that I started to meditate, my life actually changed. It was actually my light bulb moment. And although, yes, it has its challenges, it also helped me grow so much as a person and build a relationship with myself that was so strong that now naturally you're gonna go through challenges, but I go quite like instantly or default into my growth mindset, which is quite nice because I get to experience my emotions and let them go in a healthy way. And then I find solutions as opposed to what I used to do before, where I used to get into like a victim mindset and then it would just be a loop. I'd just stay there for ages and end up getting really depressed, which is actually something I did experience, especially after I broke up with my ex. I fell into like a whole bout of depression where I was really lost. I didn't know who I was. And everybody in the spiritual community will call this the dark night of the soul because you hit like this wall and you're like, I don't know why I'm here or how I got here, but now I need to almost find a rope to get over this wall because I've created it for myself. That was quite hard to face because you have to take a lot of accountability for your own actions and the choices that you've made in your life. But most importantly, like having compassion for yourself on the journey is something that I've learned is so important. And just having a relationship with yourself from the get-go. A lot of people don't actually have a relationship with themselves, including me. I didn't until I actually turned to that journey and started finding that for myself. And naturally, I feel like when you're there for yourself more and you have a relationship with yourself, you're like, okay, yes, there is a part of it that will feel like a victimy, if that's a word, that's not a word. Victimy? There's a part of it that will feel like you're the victim, but you will get past it because you understand as you become your own best friend, like you're never going to leave your mate just feeling like absolute sugar honey iced tea. You are going to be like, hey, come on, let's figure this out together. So you start to do that for yourself more and more on the journey. And I feel like that's kind of what happened for me. I'm super grateful for my journey because no matter what the decisions, good, bad, ugly, great, I know that I always followed my heart. And that's always been a really important thing to me. To follow your passion, your purpose, and your heart is something I've always done and I will continue to do. Because even when you have to make the hard decisions, it's your decision and you can own it and be in your truth, which is the most important thing for us as human beings. My journey has been inspirational for me, but I feel like also it's opened my eyes in so many ways that I didn't realize that I needed it to be opened. Because, you know, you kind of get like stuck in your ways sometimes. You need somebody almost to shine a light and show you that things can be different. And I hope that I can be that light for you. Our collective mission is to heal and forgive what was, to accept and appreciate what is, and to choose and create the best of what will be. The more, like I said earlier, that we put on our own life jacket, the more that we're going to be able to help others. You can expect to see heightened awareness, a positive growth-based mindset, an incredible relationship with yourself, joy because you're in such alignment, compassion, so much more confidence, and most importantly, you're going to experience more purposeful abundance in your life, which is one of the best feelings. And I want us all to feel it together collectively. If you related to anything I said, drop a like, a comment, and subscribe to this channel so that we can grow together. If you like this content and you'd like to see more of me, go ahead and follow me on my socials at In Life with Rocky. For my busybodies, I didn't forget about you. There will be a podcast version of this channel so that you can listen on the go if that's what you choose to. I know firsthand that healing can be a lonely journey, but it doesn't have to be. So let's create a community here. Reach out to one another, message me, tag me on my socials. I'd love to hear from you and I'd love to hear your stories. We're in this together. We've got this, and I love you.